Well, they can't all do it as good as me. Most can, but not all of them. So this is, I had to shut Rosie down yesterday. Welders came by and fixed my thumb again. So now they've done that one, they've done this one, and they've done this one. The only one left to break is that pad eye. So, you know, hey, just give it time, the rate we're going. Anyway, yeah, so I just backed in right underneath the archway here. Got the trailer in where I want it. I don't like it's leaning quite as much as it is. But with that pine tree overhead and kind of just the slope I have to deal with here, this is gonna have to work. So what I'll do is I'll cut me a couple little pieces of blocking, some wedges that I can throw up here on the trailer, and get those up there so when I set the logs on, they roll against that blocking and won't roll off and fall back down the hill. But you know, it's really just the two great big ones that I'm worried about rolling, just because they're nice and round. The other ones, they've all got a little crotch or something, they won't really roll. So anyway, we're gonna try to get all the pecan picked up down here, and then I'll see if I can walk over and get the cedar. I'm not sure, I might move the trailer around out on the street to go pick up the cedar. But anyway, get all the logs out of here, and then we need to see about getting this little pond rounded out. But for now, let's get the logs. Alright, so we just got the first two biggest pieces set on, and they're not quite centered up on the trailer, but that's okay. That'll give us some space on the opposite side to drop something if I need to. But just the wedges worked great. The logs didn't even test them. I actually set the first log on and then pushed the log and the wedges over, and it all held. But the other little pro tip is I'm going to actually leave my bucket here against it, just because I'm going to be working downhill these logs while I chain them down. I'm going to get them chained right now before I load anything else. But I want to leave that bucket pressed against it, just God forbid they would decide to do something stupid and roll while I'm under them. So now hopefully they won't. Well, we got all the logs up there on the trailer out of the pecan, and so I wanted to come down here and try to do this little pond that he asked for before I moved up to get the cedar. Basically, once I go up on top of the hill, I don't want to come back down. But I don't think the pond's going to happen, because here is our soil. Now that to you guys might look like it's clay, but it is primarily sand. When I dig it and dump it, it is just sand. This stuff, I just picked this up, and the whole thing's going to goo on me. I just picked this stuff up from down there in the bottom where it started to switch over to red and gray. But you can see right here, that's pure sand. So there's a little bit of clay starting to come into it, but I don't think there's enough. Basically, with the area of the pond here, he doesn't have enough clay to line the whole pond. He just wanted like a little, I guess like a little goldfish pond in here, but there's just not enough clay material in this area. I'd have to dig a hole, you know, 20, 30 feet deep right in the middle to then try to be able to spread clay all the way around. And honestly, I'm reluctant to do it too, because the sandbox pond that we dug, that I lined the whole thing with clay, didn't hold any water anyway. So that's an ongoing saga that I'm sure we'll have more updates about in the future. Anyway, I don't think this pond is going to happen. Well, here's our pecan. Big crotch section here, about 5 foot long, and there's another one over there about 6 foot long. Oh, we got two little smaller, straighter pieces there on top. One down in between. And this one here on top, I think it might be an immature white oak. I think. It was dead standing, so I went ahead and just knocked it down and loaded it up, and it doesn't have, ow-wee. That feels like metal sticking out of there. It's just a broke off little splinter, but whew. It's got a little bit of heartwood kind of peeking out of it. It's mostly sapwood. Since I knocked it down, I went ahead and threw it on. We'll see if we can figure out what it is. I don't know, looking at the bark, you could almost say it's an immature pecan. It almost looks just like that big pecan. Maybe that's what it was. It had similar growth structure, but I don't know, it's just not quite, clicking. And it was dead standing, so I don't have any leaf or anything to go off of. Anyway, here's the carnage left over. So this got all gooey on me. I couldn't stay over there. I was trying to push the brush and the stump further back in. That stump, actually, I couldn't even pick up. I had to move it over there. I just had to grab one side and pull it towards me a little bit and try to rotate the machine, and it would kind of walk as it spun. And I just had to sit there and keep doing that. So I actually had to walk it. I had it halfway up the hill here, and then had to walk it back down. Just trying to spin it the whole time to get it to move. So there she stays. The pecan brush, like I said, I was trying to push it further back into the trees, but the ground got soft on me and I couldn't really go anymore. And of course, the pond is not going to be a pond. So that's a shame. I wanted to give him a nice little pond. It could have done a cute little pond down in there, but it's just all sand. I did find some clay about 5 feet, but it was still real sandy. I just don't think it's going to hold. And he wasn't too worried about it. He just said, no, it's not, you know, don't waste any time on it. So it is what it is. Anyway, we got the big pecan. We're gonna get her home and get it unloaded.